All right, we made it through Wild Card Weekend. 3 out of 4, not too bad. You can check the tape if you don't believe me. Let's move on to the divisional round. Our first game is Baltimore hosting Denver. And Baltimore, a great win last week. Ray Lewis did his dance all over the place. It was fantastic. But I like Denver in this one. I mean, Denver coming off the rest, I think that helps them get a little healthier. And come on, it's Peyton Manning. I know he's had his fair share of games where he's blown it in the playoffs, but I mean, when he's not swindling Papa John out of some money and making him give away 2 million pizzas instead of 1 million, and when he's not driving a Buick and calling his dad with all sorts of audibles, he's a pretty good quarterback. And he actually had one of his worst games of the year against Baltimore, but I'm not deterred by that. I want Peyton. I want the red on his forehead when he takes off his helmet. I want all of that. Give me the Broncos winning at home. Saturday night's game finds the Green Bay Packers going to the San Francisco 49ers. Last week, the Packers were able to keep Adrian Peterson in check, and they also got a gift by having Joe Webb start. I never thought Vikings fans would say, we want Christian Ponder, but I'm sure a couple of them were saying that last week. That being said, Packers played really well for about 2 quarters and then just kind of cruise controlled through the rest of the game. They can't do that against the Niners because they are a much better team. However, the Niners are banged up a little bit. Also, since Alex Smith has come out, Colin Kaepernick hasn't played that well. I mean, he demolished my Bears, but at the end of the season, pretty much every team was, so that's not that big of an accomplishment. And since then, he's struggled a little bit. Green Bay is boosted by Charles Woodson coming back, who has probably one of the nicest goatees in all of the NFL. And I think the improved defense from Green Bay, as well as the running game, which looked pretty good last week, coupled with Aaron Rodgers doing his discount double check, I'm taking the Packers to move on, which kills me as a Bears fan. In Sunday's early game, the Houston Texans travel to New England to take on the Patriots. You may remember this game from about a month ago on Monday Night Football when the Patriots won by 4 scores, and it wasn't even that close. Are the Texans better since then? I don't think so. They've limped into the playoffs and barely won a game against the Cincinnati Bengals team that literally was doing everything they could to lose the game and still had a drive to go on and win. Watching that game made me hate football for a little bit because it was just so awful. If I was trying to show someone, hey, look how awesome football was, and I turned on Cincinnati and Houston and they watched that game, they'd be like, screw you, I'm going back to soccer, or lacrosse or takra or whatever sport they love. And that is something that I can't add because I want everyone to love football because it's so much fun to watch. This game probably won't be that much fun to watch. If the Texans can play like the way they played the first 12 weeks of the season, where it's handing the ball off, handing the ball off again, and then maybe handing the ball off a 4th down for good measure, then they might have a shot at controlling the game. But there are 3 things that we know of about Tom Brady. Number 1, he loves Uggs. Number 2, he has a hot supermodel wife. And number 3, in the playoffs, he's almost a sure thing every single season to at least make it to the conference championship game. And since they aren't there yet, I'm taking the Patriots in this one. And our last game, the Seattle Seahawks against the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Seahawks last week played a Washington Redskins team that trotted out an injured quarterback that further injured his knee just trying to pick a ball up. And it's kind of cool to see Robert Griffin be like, some of the other less athletic people of us. I mean, how many times have you been over and you pull something in your back, or you feel a creak in your knee? Of course, best of luck in his recovery. Remember how we were talking about Tom Brady and the certainty in the playoffs? There are the 3 certainties for the Atlanta Falcons. Number 1, they're going to have a very good regular season. Number 2, they're going to put up that very good regular season against teams that really aren't that good. Take a look at Atlanta's schedule. There were about 3 or 4 games on there that they should have lost to teams that are inferior to them. And they pulled them out, and that luck has to run out at some point. And number 3, in terms of the Atlanta Falcons' certainty in the play, it's that they're going to lose in the first round. Matt Ryan and company, Matty Ice, whatever the hell you want to call him, basically I call him an early exit in the playoffs. And until they prove me wrong, I'm still going to take Seattle. 8 weeks ago, I wouldn't have chosen Seattle to ever win a road game, but ever since they beat my Bears, look at this. The Bears are like the catalyst for teams winning. You beat them, and then all of a sudden, things are good. Things are looking up. With Seattle's defense, I think they can handle Atlanta's passing attack, and Michael Turner, I don't think he has that much left in the tank. So, let's go Seahawks. I'm picking you, so don't let me down. Thanks for watching. Check back next week to see how we did with the picks. We're moving on to the conference championships next week. Should be a lot of fun. Until then, sit back, relax, enjoy some football. See you on the field.
JK, JK.